Alright, well, let's dive right into the Persona 3 chapter, or as it's called here, episode P3, with the prologue and chapter 1, which I don't think those two usually go together like this, but alright. Let's go ahead and go.
The death of everything, but also the beginning.
Whoa, wild-eyed man. It's not enough puns in that sentence.
People have filled the world, yet turned it into a void. The only hope of salvation lies in ruin.
Did you work in a zoo? Because that's one huge pile of shit you're pushing around. So, how'd that turn out for you, Dad? It doesn't matter now that you're dead as a doornail, does it? You wanted the world destroyed, huh? Isn't that right, you worthless pest? Fine, I'll do it. This shitty world with its shitty people and shitty lives will disappear, and I'll be the only thing left. After all, if the Father's fallen into darkness, then the Son must rise. Just kidding.
What nonsense.
What?
These constructs can only remain active within my red fog. Even then, they can only do so for a limited amount of time. If you have time to waste with worthless sentiment, hurry up and complete your preparations.
Ha! You've got no sense of humor. Keep up your whining and I'll have to kill you too.
Such impudence. Take them. They are your pawns.
They're pretty well made. Fine, I've got the power I borrowed from you too. So now there's no way I could lose. Well then, time to make like a tree and turn over a new leaf or whatever.
Oh, come on, it's make like a tree and beat it. Gosh, can't even get the line right. That was a really overdrawn, like, breathing into the mic right there.
Huh. A puppet version of a puppet. I'll make sure you get the job done this time.
Now let's begin. For the sake of his world.
Spooky. Meanwhile, May 5th, afternoon. I'm at the Shadow Operative's lab.
I finished going through Labrys's personality module and control links.
Fukusan's voice echoes through the machinery-lined room, where she works as the operator. It seems that it'll be a little more time until she'll be finished with her work.
I knew we could count on you.
I'm sorry that I asked you for such a big favor.
Oh no, I couldn't possibly stand by after something so important happened. But, is it really all right for me to be doing this? Aren't you all part of some kind of police organization now?
No, it's a cult.
There's no need to be concerned. Even now that we've become the Shadow Operatives, this lab belongs solely to the Kirijo group.
So we can do whatever we want. The Shadow Operatives, a special unit under the direct supervision of the National Police Agency, aka the NPA. Yeah, that'd be right. Organized to deal with supernatural cases that the normal police would be unable to respond to. In other words, cases dealing with shadows. This is one of the laboratories under the management of the Shadow Operatives. The purpose of this place is mainly to analyze evidence gathered in shadow-related cases, analysis of shadow matters for scientific understanding, and planning operations. Another objective is the maintenance, inspection, and service for anti-shadow weapons such as myself. Since I am a member of the Shadow Operatives and am classified as a weapon due to my mechanical nature, I periodically undergo maintenance at this facility. Directly after the inauguration of the Shadow Operatives, Mitsuru-san had a state-of-the-art packing case prepared to transport me. I don't know why I didn't think that said packing, or why that didn't make sense. However, the one slumbering within this case is my sister, Labris, the 5th generation anti-shadow suppression weapon, and our new comrade. Totally thought this was Labris speaking the whole time. Except then it would be like,
I finished investigating Labris's mobility systems. All I have to do now is reboot her OS and perform some final checks.
as I was saying, if it was actually Labris talking there, we'd probably have to talk in some like Brooklyn accent.
Thank you. How is she?
She'd sustained some heavy structural damage, so I was worried, but thankfully none were critical.
It's a good thing she's not running on Windows. Since my sister had been forced to push herself far beyond her limit during the events of the other day, her body had taken some serious damage. I'm glad that she's okay. Fukusan's words caused me to sigh with release. I thought this said cease me to sigh. I was like, what?
I see. And what did you recover from her memory?
Can't read today.
I'm sorry. I searched through it, but I found no records that would lead to finding the one behind what happened. If we want to pursue him any further, we'll have to wait for a report from intelligence, but it seems that will still take some time.
I see.
I see Mitsuru-san tighten her fist with that quiet utterance. The culprit is someone capable of manipulating the data in my sister's memory. The possibility that they would make the mistake of leaving a trace leading to themselves is extremely low. Even when one knows the outcome, people often feel indignant when the last bit of hope is crushed. It's understandable. Our ability to find who kidnapped my sister has been completely stymied. I'm actually just going to talk right here, just make sure my voice is coming through on the cover. Okay, yeah. Hopefully that didn't like give you too much of an echo there. I apologize. Had to make sure it wasn't doing the weird... I don't know. Sometimes my mic audio like captures weird on this.
Then we have no clues to go on.
Don't be so hasty. We might get new leads from intelligence, right?
Ever since that attempted airplane hijacking, we've learned that the Public Safety Division has been making some disquieting moves. If we don't make a move soon, there's no telling what they'll do to take advantage of the situation. We have to find a lead before they do anything.
Though Akihiko-san has known Mitsuru-san for a long time, Mitsuru-san's expression remains stiff as he tries to console her. But that's only natural. Shadow operatives are still in a delicate position with regards to where we stand within the National Police Organization. As a seemingly suspicious group founded by an outsider and dealing with crimes outside the capabilities of the quote-unquote normal police, I just skipped all that text ahead, we often are met with cold stares from the people who should be our fellow investigators when we're dispatched on cases. The logic of such actions eludes me, but I cannot pretend that they do not exist.
I understand how you feel, Mitsuru-san, but we must solve one problem at a time. That is why we have gathered here today.
You're right. I'm sorry. Please work with me here in reviewing what information we already know.
Mitsuru-san implores us for assistance. Our gathering here at the lab today isn't just to hear about the results of Fukusan's tests on my sister. We've come to share and review the information we have, to inspect the clues as closely as possible to get closer to the culprit as quickly as possible.
The person behind this case first stole Labris, the 5th generation anti-shadow suppression weapon, while she was in transport.
Yes. The hijacking of the airplane you were on was a diversion used to conceal the theft of my sister, after which she was transported to Inaba.
Correct. The hijackers were subdued and captured, but we have reason to believe that their minds were under some kind of control.
Those who hijacked the airplane and transported the case had no memory of taking part in the crime. They did not recognize one another, had nothing in common, and were all ordinary citizens with no prior criminal records. They did, however, all claim in their testimonies that they saw red eyes. Though their interrogations are still ongoing, it seems that it won't be long before they are released. With all these points taken into consideration, it becomes apparent that this is no ordinary crime.
The culprit waited until he arrived in Inaba to turn Labris on and fiddle with her memory. And then he threw her into the TV world, right?
Where one's heart and memories manifest themselves. As a machine, Labris was able to control these memories in great detail. In other words, the enemy used her in order to set a trap for us.
When we entered the television world in pursuit, we defeated her shadow and made indirect contact with the culprit.
That person revealed that his goal was to steal our personas by making us fight each other, which would weaken our hearts and turn our personas to shadows. Once he'd accomplished that, He would combine them all so we could have even more powerful shadows.
Everyone falls silent. The mysterious person's motive was to gather and unify shadows. This is all too similar to something that those of us gathered here will never forget.
Shuji Ikutsuki.
The culprit's speech pattern is consistent with Ikutsuki-san's mannerisms. His inability to use a persona matches him as well.
But that's not possible.
That's right. We've confirmed Ikutsuki's death.
Or maybe there's someone out there besides Ikutsuki who still thinks the same way he did.
If so, then the world we strive for is still far away.
Mitsuru-san sounds as if she's in agony. Shuji Ikutsuki. 3 years ago, he became fascinated with the Fall and tried to bring about the end of the world using shadows. To Mitsuru-san, he is also the adversary that robbed her of her precious father.
Yamagishi, when Labrys awakens, can you give her a summary of the case from 3 years ago? I'd like her to know what went on while she was sealed.
I understand.
Can't you just stick that data into her memory?
If we did that, it would just become a piece of data to her. She needs to be told about it in order for her mind to understand what happened.
She's human through and through, huh?
Also, I noticed something when I was checking her memories. The makeup of Labrys's memory field is slightly different from Aigus's. Besides the memory area that she normally accesses, there seems to be a sub-network of some sort.
She has 2 memory networks?
I think it was probably used to incorporate the feedback from her sibling units, but I still don't know for sure. That's why I believe it's safer to tell her in person.
All right, I'll let you tell her however you see fit. Regarding Ikutsuki, I'm pressuring staff to hurry and review the information, including the newly discovered quarantine server at Ergo Research. We never knew about the server in question before now, because it had been cut off from the group's network. It most likely has information that normally would have never left Ergo Research, such as data on top-secret experiments.
Ikutsuki-san could be involved in this case. Mitsuru-san's worry and irritation may be because she senses that possibility. We can all understand the pain she must be in.
By the way, what was the logic behind that whole midnight channel thing?
It's still unknown, but we'll have to send people to Inaba again. We're going to hold a meeting at headquarters tomorrow to discuss countermeasures.
Who let their car alarm go off? Suddenly, an alarm that notifies us of... Let me try that line again. An alarm that notifies us of abnormalities goes off and reverberates throughout the lab. Mitsuru-san quickly uses a nearby control panel to contact the staff within the facility.
What's going on?
The surveillance system detected a rise in shadow readings. It's currently stabilizing around a level 3 alert, located in that town of Inaba.
What?
Looks like he's shown up already. That saves us the trouble of having to puzzle this out.
Yu-san and his friends are in danger. Mitsuru-san, please give the order to dispatch us.
All right, we'll leave at once. Yamagishi, leave Labrys to Kikuno and accompany us.
I understand. Well then, I leave the rest to you, Kikuno-san.
Understood. Lady Mitsuru, everyone, please be careful.
One of Mitsuru-san's personal domestic assistants, or should I say, maids, Kikuno-san answers. Kikuno-san and Mitsuru-san have a stronger bond than that of any ordinary servant and master, and she is another of the shadow operatives. Her words catch my attention for some reason. Please be careful. It's a weird way to say that. A very trivial expression of concern for our safety. Brushing it off as common courtesy words be simple. What? Oh, brushing it off as common courtesy would be simple, not words. But I sense that she may be sensing something unusual regarding the situation that awaits us there. What could be causing this unease? Does Mitsuru-san know? Dun 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 dun.
Oh, hold on, Aigis.
As I'm trying to decide on whether or not to look deeper into Mitsuru-san's state of mind, Fuka-san gets up from her operator's seat and beckons me over.
What is it?
If we can put Labrys aside for a moment, are you going to be alright without having any maintenance done on you, Aigis?
What do you mean?
I read the documents on your new equipment. At first I assumed it was referring to that large gun, but it's actually...
That. True. There have been no tests confirming that it is capable of being used in an actual combat situation. But we face a powerful foe this time.
Is it even possible? If even one thing were to go wrong...
Fuka-san's face clouds as she looks at me. I can't be confident that I'll be alright, and I'm unable to tell her a pleasant lie to calm her down. In any case, I only pray the situation that requires me to use my new equipment never arises. Both of us are tense as we prepare to depart.
Milady, a change of clothes has been laid out in your car.
I see. Thank you.
I've also prepared Akihiko-san's favorite protein drink, and Fuka-san has been preparing a playlist suitable for a road trip in her room.
Way to go, Fuka. Get those mix CDs down.
Huh?
That will be all, Kikuno.
Very well. Pardon me.
As expected from Kikuno-san, she is amazingly considerate as a personal assistant. Should be, but she can be too thoughtful at times. We learned this for ourselves when she came to accept us as people who are precious to Mitsuru-san.
Let's start this over, shall we? Shadow operatives, let's mobilize.
Would be better if it was like Shadow Operatives. Roll out! Thanks to Kikuno-san, the tension in the air subsides a bit, but we cannot allow our attention to wander just now. Upon completing our preparations for departure, we immediately make our way to Inaba. Here's our giant limousine.
Why are we taking this car again, Mitsuru?
Akihiko-san grumbles from the back seat of the Shadow Operative's personal limousine. Glad to see personal limousine, not just like, no, an ordinary one. I'm not sure how to put this, but I find that his feelings are justified.
Don't question it, Akihiko. There was no time to prepare a vehicle with the same equipment. Speaking of appearances, are you gonna wear that again?
Ooh, shots fired.
Sure. There's a chance that we'll have to fight after all. These clothes give me the flexibility I need.
Impressive, Akihiko-san. You never change.
Literally. He said the same stuff every time.
Still, to think that the culprit would make a move so soon. We've completely lost the initiative.
Indeed. We need to begin taking measures right now. I only hope no danger comes to Narukami and his friends.
Mitsuru-san seems deeply agitated. During the car ride, she seemed distracted. At times, she would flip through the thick file in her lap, only to suddenly give an order to a subordinate. And at other times, she would stare intently at her watch, as if lost in thought. Her usual regal composure is gone.
Mitsuru-san, why don't we just ask them to cooperate with us?
I agree. They seem pretty strong.
No, they're still young. If I asked for their assistance, it would waste time better spent at school. Worse yet, it would put them in danger. I don't want anyone else to have to go through that anymore.
I understand how you feel, but they don't seem like the kind who'd listen. You know, we were the same way back then.
Mitsuru-san falls silent. It's likely not a mistake to think that the sudden spike in shadow activity this time is related to the events of a few days ago. It has become apparent to everyone that another dangerous battle is about to begin.
We have new information. Kikuno sent me a message.
Thank goodness I had AOL Instant Messenger hooked up.
I tasked Kikuno with reviewing Ergo Research's quarantine server. But it seems new evidence has come to light regarding Ikutsuki, who we discussed in our earlier conversation. According to the report, it seems Ikutsuki was performing an experiment on his own in the lab directly after the explosion. It's unknown if this is related to our current mission, but there was a record of a plume of dust being used in the experiment.
A plume of dusk.
A plume of dusk. An object that blurs the line between matter and information and is fitted into anti-shadow weapons like myself. It forms the core of our personality modules and is what allows us to control personas, even though we are machines.
So, what are the details of this experiment? Nothing good, I bet.
Ikutsuki was...
The limousine's engine suddenly roars, drowning out further conversation. It seems the road we are taking has begun to climb a steep hillside. As the car takes a winding road up the slope, I can look down through the window and see lush trees along the mountainside. For a moment, I thought I sensed a shadow reading. Could it have just been my imagination?
Yamagishi, tell me our current location.
One moment. I'm looking it up now. We're currently in Inaba Pass. We're almost at the target coordinates.
Thank goodness I installed Google Maps here as well.
What is this? Was that?
What's wrong?
Damn it, Fuka, stop putting viruses on the computers.
An ambush?
What's happening? Driver, what's going on? Answer me!
Uh-oh.
It's just like during the hijacking.
Igus!
On it! A barrier!
Are we trapped?
You know, logically, really said it at the wrong time there. But I don't think a car is gonna flip forward like that, just going through a, you know, a metal barrier like that. But hey, those things happen, I guess.